So, with the main storyline of the Terran Voyager arc wraps up, I thought it a good idea to look into the accompanying missions released with it, consisting of 2 patrols. This mission is a wargame that can take place at any time, as it's basically a simulation scenario set in the Mirror Universe ISAR system that covers what happened to the USS Khonshu after we escaped in the mission Firewall, episode 167 of this series. The Khonshu was gone until episode 172, and our first encounter with the other when it then reappeared to extract us from the Mirror Universe. Then Captain DeSoto explained he had received some aid from the Mirror Universe Coalition and survived. This scenario is simply to test what may have unfolded had we remained behind, but I am factoring in another reason here, the testing of new weapons systems devised from Voyager's unique plasma digitization arrays and implemented on the Pathfinder class USS Frontier NCC 97611. For this mission, while the Armiger gets some much needed overhauls and TLC and the crew some shore leave, we take out the Frontier on this scenario. You'll have to excuse my unoptimized build. I am not very good with science ships, and this is really not a great setup, but anyway, it's something different. So we begin by setting course for our universe's ISAR system to rendezvous with the Khonshu, which itself is replicating its distressed role after having managed to fall back under cloak after covering our escape until the Terrans that engaged it moved away. However, they are in dire straits, and DeSoto hails us to explain that premise.
In our mission to the Mirror Universe, the Khonshu was heavily damaged in battle at the ISAR system. We barely managed to escape with our lives. Eventually, with the help of the Coalition, we were able to make repairs and return to action. Today, we'll use this simulation to explore a different outcome. How would you make a difference in that scenario? Let's find out, shall we?
ISAR is a mostly human colony world, 3rd planet of the Epsilon Bootis system in the Alpha Quadrant, and it has several storage sites, and is along a trade route, and it was founded in 2183, almost immediately being admitted to the fledgling Federation. By now there are 185 million inhabitants, as well as a classified Starfleet Research and Development Outpost, and a Starfleet Carrickson Tactical Academy. It also infamously is the home of Garth of ISAR, a Starfleet Captain rendered unstable by alien technology in the line of duty, who attempted to enact several atrocities. But we're just here for training exercises.
The Khonshu suffered significant damage. Weapons and shields are out, main power has just failed, hull integrity is critical. It's a miracle the cloak's working, but it's taking too much power. At the rate we're going, it could fail at any time.
Alright, so, cool. Roleplay faces on. What were your recommendations?
My chief engineer thinks we can mine the nearby asteroids for metalloid compounds. With those, we can make some hull plating and deal with our structural integrity problems. We need you to break up the asteroids, find any usable ore, and bring it back to us. We'll handle it from there. Once you break the asteroid into smaller chunks, use your tractor beams to pull them over here.
So we open fire on the asteroids to crack them open. So plasma beams that we're firing are unique and generally not favoured by Starfleet for a couple of reasons, although they have been used in the past because of their ease of creation when compared to phaser or disruptor technology.
Okay, get close to that ore-rich chunk and bring it over to the Khonshu.
Burning and disintegration, neither of which are exactly, well, humane. But the Digitizer variation takes on board the processes of conversion that Voyager and the other had, allowing the reducing of a target to nothing in an instantaneous event. Still a weapon of war and less useful than a phaser, but something far more efficient and quick than boiling a target to death. We lock on to the exposed ore and bring it back to the Khonshu. So far, so good. This is to facilitate its own repairs, but our actions are not going to go unnoticed by the Terrans that are still out there looking for the damaged vessel.
Great. Now just use your transporters to send that ore over to us. Remember, not to go further than 5 kilometers from the shard, or you'll lose tractor lock.
What have we here? Looks like some lovely salvage for the taking.
Well, now to see how we perform in combat. The Orion forces warp in, part of the simulation, and I'm assuming sensor creations for the sake of our wargames. They open fire on us and we return it, while the Khonshu busies itself with its issues. The pirates, however, are not too much of a threat, and while our shielding is not as powerful as, say, the armatures, we are faster and more maneuverable, and our shields restore quicker too. We also have the advantage of being able to target specific subsystems, such as shielding, power flow, weapon systems and the like, and we can be more surgical with our strikes. On top of this, it gives our science officers a chance to let loose with a wide array of phenomena that we can create, such as generating small tychons and subspace rifts. Eventually, the threats are digitized into the ether, and we can continue our mining operations, moving on to a second asteroid before towing our spoils from that back to the Khonshu. More Orion opportunists arrive to halt our recovery, and we engage them with similar results. This time, however, we also decide to launch the Aero Shuttle to see how that fares as an additional target in combat.
Nice work out there. I doubt the Orions will come back for more. Too much risk, not enough reward.
Agreed, the Frontier performed well. These weapons are kinda scary.
Well, the good news is that hull repairs are underway. The bad news, our injector manifolds are shot, and we can't repair all of them. Fortunately, Terran technology is close to our own. If we can disable one of their ships, say a cruiser or larger, we can borrow some of their injectors and make repairs.
Awesome, yeah. Do you have a Terran cruiser just lying around at all, maybe?
Looks like all of the activity out here has drawn the attention of a Terran patrol. They're inbound to our position at high warp. Let's give them a nice prime universe welcome when they arrive.
Alright, back to Red Alert and battle stations we go. Also, I think this is canonically the first time they've referred to the Star Trek Online timeline as Prime Universe. We can see the patrol ahead, consisting of several smaller Reliant-class frigates with a larger cruiser, Ross class I believe, from the look of it. Well, the cruiser's components are what we need, so let's focus on that first. We target its shield subsystems and prepare for a long battle, but thanks to the amazing targeting subsystems of this Pathfinder, we disable our target in only a couple of volleys.
Grab the injectors from that disabled Terran ship!
The Khonshu is shadowing us under cloak, still not in great shape to assist with no shielding, which, additionally, beaming in the components from our target will require us to drop our shielding, not exactly smart to do in combat.
A frigate's warp drive is too small. We need parts from something bigger.
Yes, Captain, I am aware. I just don't want to be shot in the back while I'm beaming stuff over. Give me a minute.
Bad news. They managed to make a distress call. This ain't over yet.
A battle cruiser warps in. Looks like a Concorde class, but I have a window and I'm taking it. We beam our components from the disabled cruiser and fall back to outside of weapons range of the new arrival. Then we send our spoils back to the Khonshu.
Excellent. We should have the mains up in no time. Uh-oh. Got to be kidding me. More Terrans? Surrender while you still can.
We engage the larger fleet of reinforcements, but we're not outnumbered for long.
Coalition forces! Target the Terran vessels! Fire at will!
The Coalition ships, including Cardassian, Klingon and stolen Terran vessels, arrive to aid us. These are the forces that the Khonshu no doubt met originally.
Well, looks like you're a long way from home, strangers.
Well, thanks for the assist and greetings, Captain, putting it mildly. I take it you've discerned our origin?
Pretty clear you're no friends of the Terran Empire, which makes you friends of ours. Come with us. I think you want to have a word with our boss.
Sorry, could you repeat? I was distracted by the explosions.
In reality, things were a lot worse for us back then. For example, we hid in the asteroid field to evade detection by that Terran patrol. They got into a scrap with the Orions instead of us, and we were able to salvage what we needed to move on from the wreckage afterward.
Oh, so our involvement in the grand scheme wouldn't have actually changed anything.
Bottom line, you never know how things will go sideways when you're out there. Being able to identify all viable options while under pressure is often the difference between life and death for a starship captain. Based on what I saw here, you've learned that lesson well. That's all for today.
Well, I agree. A different series of events, but with the same outcome. In both of these scenarios, we managed to walk away. The only difference I can see is perhaps the fact we would have not been so easily able to escape and survive in the first place, considering we don't have a cloaking device. The eventual outcome turned out to be a blessing in disguise anyway, as this afforded DeSoto the opportunity to find an inroad into the coalition of the Mirror Universe, a safe point for Starfleet intelligence to operate from in the future, and we can have a pulse on that universe now and keep our eye on them. As for the science-build USS Frontier, it's a fun ship and I might spec up a science character to play it, if I can be bothered, but for now, this was one of the 2 missions introduced, the second of which I will cover next week, so until then, thanks for joining me on this ever-evolving narrative of Star Trek Online on this small side quest. I've been Rick, and I'll see you again later. Thanks again, and goodbye.